How is Facebook changing the game here?
Well, instead of rolling out just one version of Libra, which has kind of been the plan since last June when they first announced this, today they announced that there's going to be multiple versions of Libra, and many of them are going to be backed by individual fiat currencies. So, for example, you might have a digital version of Libra that's tied directly to the US dollar. You might have another one that's tied to the euro. And so what they're hoping to do is basically appease these central banks that were really afraid that if Libra succeeded, they might actually lose some of their power, right? The power to create currency and kind of fluctuate markets. That's what they're able to do. And if there was a currency out there that they didn't control, that would obviously be a problem for them. So this is a way for Facebook to try and kind of meet them at a place where they're more comfortable.
There's obviously a lot going on in the world right now. When might something like this actually launch?
Yeah, I can't imagine that this is at the top of the priority list for a lot of these federal organizations. But Facebook says, not just Facebook, the Libra Association, which is Facebook and many other companies, say that they're hoping to have approvals for this and regulatory thumbs up by late 2020. So the goal is still to launch something this year. I think how the economy continues to reopen or evolve is really going to dictate whether or not that's a possible timeline for them, but they are shooting for the end of the year.
Have they gotten any response yet from the other people that you mentioned who will care?
Yeah, they said in their announcement that they are actively talking with Swiss regulators to try and get a payments license there. They said that they want to register here in the U.S. I mean, the story with Libra all along since it's been announced has really been that they're constantly having these conversations behind the scenes. It's just such a complicated thing, right, to launch a new currency. So I didn't see a whole lot of discussion about it today after their announcement, but I imagine that that's because people have already been having discussions about this for months now. It'll probably wait until we're much closer to launch before we start to hear real concrete examples of what this might look like.
So what does this mean more broadly in terms of the other struggles that Facebook is fighting right now? Obviously, they're fighting misinformation on their platform about the coronavirus. We know they could be facing a huge plunge in ad dollars just because of what's going on with the economy.
I think it's a pretty telling sign that Facebook is still trying to operate as close to normal as possible, right? And this is the kind of project that's very far afield from their normal business. And the fact that they're still talking about it, they're still making announcements about it, talking to the press about it, to me is just a sign that Facebook wants everything to keep moving forward, right? I mean, we see that with Portal. We see that with their augmented reality. Now we're seeing it with Libra. So I guess I take it as a sign that the company is doing well enough that they're not shuttering something like this, right? That is, I guess, in itself somewhat encouraging if you're a Facebook investor. But certainly, again, as you pointed out, I can't imagine this is the top priority either for the company or for their partners.